Oh, man. Oh, what? Oh, I love it when I just press it and it just goes. Um, there we go. Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. As you can hear, this is the East Conference. So we're gonna have the first. We're gonna have teams from the APAC region face off against those in the uh, China mainland division. Basically the so we have the APAC. I think top two will face off. I think China top and third place. I think top. Yeah. So this will be technically BOD against. Ooh, just give me 2 seconds. Because I'm not sure about. I'm not exactly sure who ZT is. Oh no, actually, I think first place forfeited. Not really forfeit. So anyway, so this is just like bonus rounds um, for Conqueror for the CBL, and I think they're gonna get the Eastern Conquerors title. Um, there are a few mistakes in the visuals, but just so you know, um, BOD didn't actually ban out the grassland. You can't technically ban out a map that's a tiebreaker. Well, that's not part of the selection anyway. I think it just defaulted to grassland, but they banned out Hidden City, and of course ZT bans out Hailong Fjord, and then we get the Harbor City facing off Harbor City for ZT and BOD on attacking Constantinopolis. So BOD rolled higher, so they'll be attacking first. They also banned out the um, Huarangs, Ironcap Scouts, and Corteliers. They did not safe pick any unit, which is interesting. ZT bans out the Daggerak Lancers, Metallictors, and the Siphonates. Uh, not too unexpected. That does mean this will probably be the first time I get to see Spartans in CBL, at least for the commentary section. Um, do mind that we literally just got a update as well, so it will be very interesting to see if like any of the teams decide to update their plans once if they had a chance to play with the newly adjusted units. I will say I will say the Demez Abelis are a little bit stronger than I was expecting. I did expect something to this level, but not to this extent. It's way worse than I thought it was going to be. However, I haven't had the opportunity to see very much for Ironcap Archers and Ironcap Arquebusiers. I do realize that they chunked the damage down a lot. Um, about half as much. So a lot less effective than I was expecting, actually. Um, but we'll see if that comes into play in the CBL. We're probably gonna start shortly as they're filling up now. So what do you guys think? Do you think these guys have? Well, first of all, Are you guys interested to see what the Chinese teams are pulling here? Definitely think I need more opportunity, or I would like the opportunity to spectate a lot more battles and stuff. It's just really difficult sometimes.
You look tired, my friend. May this song calm your nerves.
Come, let me see what you're capable of.
I'm also very interested to see how this pike change is going to kind of work out. One of the most interesting things is the overall damage of these pike units have been lowered quite a bit. Um, a lot more than I was expecting, but probably because of the pace of the battle, um, units moving units were moving pretty fast, and I think the bonus damage missing is having a much more pronounced impact now that we're getting it on live in live situations, particularly when it comes to units like the IPG. The Imperial's Pike Guards Advance, that has lost so much of its counterattack potential. It's a little disappointing actually. We saw a little bit of an increase in the damage, but I'm gonna be honest, we lost more damage, it feels like. And I, I can't put my finger on like how valuable the um, the speed bonus was, especially against other infantry.
Come, let me see
Low
what
speed
you're
cavalry
capable of.
has become a massive problem as well. Um, Nagarak Lancers a lot of times get stopped and aren't taking as much damage from pikes anymore.
I
At
have
least not the
no
ones that
song
got
for the
adjusted.
world.
So you still have the Phalanx, which still has the old rules, and they're still clearly head and shoulders above the
You look
rest.
tired, my
But
friend.
now
May this song calm your
they're
nerves.
the only one that can deal with low speed cavalry. I don't think anyone's kind of like switched over to using those pike units in the first
I'm your
place
buddy.
because they're just really bad against infantry and they're really bad against
Come, let me
cavalry
see what
now,
you're capable
especially
of.
especially if you know what you're doing. So it's really weird. I had a lot of fun, honestly, testing out the new units on live. I'm not sure how long this is going to last for, but I can imagine a couple of days. The pace of the battles are still very fast, however. Um, it is precisely because my unit themselves are very strong and very tanky or hard to kill, but they don't kill very fast, which makes the pace of the battles good for me. However, when I use
Your
the
songs are my own.
Demez Arbalist in this case. I feel like I'm ripping. I feel like I'm ripping through units like crazy. Cavalry in particular, they're dying like they're dropping like flies. It's a little bit scary, honestly. Um, I feel like I kind of underestimated the impact of the flat damage, or maybe I I just didn't realize how powerful it would be in a live situation
Let me see what you're
because
capable
we
of.
have the whole like um, people attacking, people defending, people not doing anything. So you don't have a situation where they're just constantly trying to overwhelm you. So when push comes to shove, it's just like, yeah, it feels about right. But when you're running around, skirmishing each other, and just trying to get the edge, that flank, that kind of advantage, it just it just balloons out of control. It feels super strong, especially particularly when you have that ability activated. The ability just not activating um, as nicely as I was hoping, but that might be an issue from my side. The Iron Cap Archers. So I don't have the Iron Cap Arquebusiers mastery unlocked for now,
I'm nobody.
so I didn't get a chance to test those. But the Iron Cap Archer one,
Need this song coming up.
something is clearly wrong when you kind of move them around. So, um, well, obviously there's the same with Demez Arbalist, but you kind of need to force them into a state where they're ready to use their ability, either fully stationary or attacking already. Of course, it's a little bit upsetting because you can't snapshot this way. Still waiting. I'm not sure who we're waiting on, but it does look like more than 30. I'm wondering how many observers there are. There's probably one official, and at least two cameras.
Come, let me see what you're capable of.
Knowing the soul comes in offers. No story more epic could ever been written. The soul is indeed a lonely thing.
Come, let me see what you're capable of. Come, let me see what you're capable of.
Theoretically, there shouldn't have been any delay. So I'm wondering what's the holdup.
I'm nobody.
Endowed with infinite knowledge. Know the soul. No story more fierce could ever bend my will.
hero songs from all over the world.
Come, let me see what you're capable of. Know that you can use Secure to strengthen your units or gain access to others. Come, let me see what you're capable of. Know that you can use Secure to strengthen your units
I'm
or
nobody,
gain access
but
to
I have
others.
some good news.
I'm honest. Are you sure it's bots and it's just not people just being bad at the
Or
game?
gain access to others.
Because I'll be honest, the game doesn't promote skill. For me, it doesn't promote skill. And maybe it does, or I'm just like, I don't
You look
care
tired, my
very
friend.
much for it.
Need this song calm your nerves.
Though young and untested, my resolve stands firm. No storm or frost could ever bend my will.
They walk around very strangely and they stand in circle in defense. Did not make a single move or like. Yeah, that's bots. That's 100%
To
bots.
But
strengthen your
hero
units
songs from all
or
over the
gain
world.
access to others.
The first thing you know, the first thing that makes that should give a sign that they're bots is that if they actually stand on point. Oh god. Sorry, I couldn't help but laughing. Um, yeah, CB doesn't have very good AI, so obviously it's kind of easy to tell.
I'm nobody, but I have some good
It's
news.
it's my opinion that we're probably not as populated. We're probably not as populated enough for
Know that you can use Secure to
off
strengthen your units
periods,
or gain access to
especially
others.
like near end or like outside of peak hours. And these peak hours are very, very short. There's roughly around about 6 hours um, between after work ends and before probably bedtime. So the
I have nothing.
APAC or like
Hero
the
songs
Asia
from all
region
over the
peak
world.
hours will probably last for another 5 hours um, at most. People probably like finish up within 3 hours, and that's like the extent of like our peak hours.
Know that you can use Secure to strengthen your units or gain access to others. Come, let me see what you're capable of.
All right, they did actually start the battle, so we're just waiting on that extra minute before we get to go into spectator mode. Ooh, long waiting as well. Too bad I don't actually have very many kind of like filler material. Be nice chatting.
Though young and untested, my resolve stands firm. No storm or
You look
frost could
tired,
ever
my
bend my
friend.
will.
Need this song calm your nerves.
Alrighty. And get the switch very soon.
Know that you can use Signaculum.
Oh yeah, you weren't here earlier. They actually banned Hidden City and picked Constantinopolis, so we'll get to see BOD attack first on Constantinopolis. Oh man, already, already the the signs are out. So, um, it's it's going to be a little interesting. Glaive. Uh, the glaives were not unexpected. They're quite strong, especially on horseback. What I am interested in is these two Iron Cap Arquebusiers. Look at all of the Smashian stalwarts. That is a lot of Smashian stalwarts coming out of ZT. We've got about half for BOD. Not as many Spartans as I thought. I thought we were going to get like a um, full on 15v15 of the Spartans. Yes, of course. So the CBL is not on a separate patch. They are released as is. I think um, I think there was a release on the masteries as well. So there was no hold on unit mastery, and there was no hold on units that got adjusted. So it's going to be interesting. Again, these Eastern conferences, I'm not sure if it's more or less if there's an official capacity. I don't think that you win anything except for the title because the main tournament is over. All of this is just exposition matches. So probably we get to see a little bit of fun, hopefully. Instantly retreating back to the C point. I mean, like, I don't expect anyone to defend the A and the B point. It's very difficult to defend, especially against a coordinated team. But a little bit of posturing wouldn't hurt. Would slow down, would slow down the approach quite a bit. Um, Honestly, if I was BOD, I'd just aim to destroy the main gate, and that's it. Destroy the main gate. Probably wall break as well if you're really keen. But they are grabbing the A point. A point's going to get captured. B point's going to start being captured now. Um, Wall breaks on the supply side also gets broken open. Yeah, Spartans are the new dumbest unit in the game. When I saw one Spartan eat the whole of my javelin snipe through, I almost... Dude, there are plenty of units that are tankier than Spartans. Um, your javelin throw is not going to kill very many units nowadays. And don't get me wrong, um, javelins are very powerful, but even Iron Reapers, they have literally 100% block. I mean, infinite. Yeah. I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Um, like that's one of the things. This game is has a lot of old mechanics that are really powerful. And block is one of those things where it's just like they're inventing new mechanics to well, not inventing new mechanics to circumvent it. They have two main things that they do with block or to counter block. Obviously, you have the block break, which again is a separate number. So you could have super high damage and deal 0 block break, and you would never get through a unit's block. This is what happens with most ranged units and stuff. The other way is that they force pierce, so it sends units into the pierce state, which classifies as a type of CC, which is really interesting as well because the fact is that CC immunity negates the pierce state, otherwise known as the armor pierce. Armor pierce as like bad translation and stuff. It's really bad. Because you can have one block, and as long as you have that one block, you will block an attack. So a lot of situations, what ends up happening is, particularly with Spartans, is because they're not technically CC immune, they're actually just recovering from any type of state into their attacking state every frame almost. Not exactly every frame, but like every attack frame they're changing. We have Iron Reapers on the wall. Very interesting, and they also trebbed it. Unfortunately, Iron Reapers are in sword mode, not what you like to see. When you're facing off against heavy shields and stuff, you would want them to be in flail mode. VOD sends a Yanyadao straight through, hits the... Whoop, gonna come in for the rear attack, and I just missed the start of a really big battle as I was just watching the Yanyadaos. The lag is insane. It is. I hope it's not. I hope it's not my game just like freaking out. But look at all of these spear sergeants just pushed up against this thing, and we have slowly the Spartans pushing through them. They're slowly dying. Definitely not a good situation for BOD, as that attack just looks like it failed. And it failed really badly. We lost quite a few units in that exchange, and might get some pickups, but... Oh no, the Anyadaos are also getting... Still, the Spartans are unstoppable. Absolutely unstoppable right now, as they continue to kind of push through. Finally gets overwhelmed at the end there, but they took out an additional 2 units. Cavalry, in fact. Yeah, the Anyadaos will have to go back. Going straight in by the looks of it. Another wave of Spear Sergeants. We also have Condottieri at the front here. They weren't kidding when the Spartan causes so much lag, probably due to their Oath of Unity. We also have what it looks like companions at the back. Spartans just refusing to die. I mean, like, there's a lot of things refusing to die, but I do think that the Spartans here will win the day. It's just kind of one of those situations where I don't know what to say.
Sparta's might. This is
DoD really struggling. I'm actually, I wasn't actually watching the Iron Cap Akubuzias. Let's see who's owns the Iron Cap Akubuzias. Let's see how well he's doing. Alright, Iron Cap Akubuzias, only 19 kills. Obviously got that nice old, whoop, another battle started. How do they have so many Spear Sergeants left? They're just, I mean, just the number of units is just kind of really high. Maybe because of the size of these units also being 40, which is kind of like getting me a little bit. A little bit RNG heavy. Might, well, still looks bad for VOD. They're getting just constantly pushed back. The Spartans not only refuse to die, but they're crushing everything in front of them.
This is Sparta.
Honestly, I think it was a terrible mistake not for someone not to ban Spartans.
König und Vaterland.
And
A walk in the park.
I'm just not sure what to say.
拙者の運命はこの手にある。
I'm not even sure what veterancy line these Spartans are at, but they definitely went super tanky with the doctrines.
Für König und Vaterland.
As you command.
Oop, we have Arbalest and Ratans. Oop, here they come out through the front gate. Winged Hussars chunking right through that phalanx.
Für König und Vaterland.
Destroy them!
Whoa, big hit onto those Iron Cap Aquaziers. They're throwing them firecrackers.
Power.
Can't exactly see the visuals too much here.
König und Vaterland.
Very tough to see because like firecrackers don't have a trail.
Burn them.
Pew 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 pew. Go Rattan Vipers.
拙者の運命はこの手にある。Für König und Vaterland.
Alright, we got 8 minutes to go.
Spartan strength.
That poison is coming through. Heals it off with the surf units. Surfs actually cleanses burning and poison. If I'm burning, poison, and bleed. In fact, I think it cleanses most debuffs.
Dust to dust. Für König und Vaterland.
But it's still very hilarious. Kind of like how this battle's kind of like worked out. Obviously, we got to see how OP Spartans are, especially in coordination. I mean, as coordinated as that seemed, it just looked awful to watch. Just the constant, just the stacks on stacks on stacks. At some point, I just wish that there would be a gentleman's agreement of like not using OP things. But then again, there's so many OP stuff in CB that it's just like, yeah, stacks on stacks, overlapping damage units that you cannot flank, but because one line of them has another, yeah. There's just lines and lines and lines of Spartans. I mean, it is kind of ridiculous. CB has changed a lot. We used to get a lot of these mosh pits and stuff. Like, we still get something like this wall fight happening. Obviously, there would be an enemy unit, but heroes would be fighting a lot inside their units, but I can't really tell when units are so stacked that heavily. The unfortunate thing is that they're all getting debuffed to the point they can barely damage the Nodachi. And the Nodachi finally dies. The debuff is strong. Don't get me wrong. That 500 damage plus whatever. They stack up to 3 times naturally. You go to 5 times. feels it hasn't changed. Unit model changed, but game always been ridiculous. Whether 15 cavalry sally out literally ends the game to the next meta unit. Yeah, it kind of be like that. Like, I know, I get the feeling sometimes as well. It's just like a rotation of problems. Like, the patch today as well, like, I feel like we've gone backwards. Instead of evolving, we've, like, devolved, but no matter which way they go, for me, is always, like, devolving, because it's just the same problem, just slightly different. Like, cavalry charges has always been a problem, and they haven't changed them. They just made them stronger because units got stronger. But like, this is nice. This is nice when units don't stack up so completely. Unfortunately, the Nemesis Spearmen is just really strong. Even though they got collateraled, actually. The funny thing is that, like, using their pure attack or all-out attack ability is actually probably not wise. Just letting them attack with their extra range and stuff is probably way better. Cavalry is still the most broken unit in the game. It's just that they have introduced phalanx and said problem solved. Dude, they did this. People, even when medals were introduced, it was still a problem. Even when Fortabrachos were introduced, it was still a problem. Like, the funny thing is that people know that cavalry are ridiculous, and because how they're designed, there's no way for pikes to become the only solution against them. You have to. It's always been a thing where, like, cavalry will reach a point where their effectiveness is so low that it's not worth bringing them. But because of their potential, if they hit a certain threshold, you can just throw cavalry at the enemy. And the best example is Courtiers. They got cheaper, they got stronger, and not very many people use them. But, like, you can throw cheap ass Courtiers against high tier infantry, and more often than not, you're going to get more value out of those Courtier charges than probably like any of the stronger charges kind of thing. Just purely because of how they're designed. And I know I bash on, like, CB a lot, but it's just they refuse to change. They refuse to change a lot of things. And as long as they refuse to change these core things, we're just going to have a rotation of the same problem. Like, one of the biggest problems I have is all of this healing nonsense. Like, the longsword, the Spartans, the men-at-arms, even the spear sergeants, they heal like crazy amounts.
Summons you.
I mean, if you have random units and lack phalanx, Daggerack Lancers are just... Dude, I feel ya. Daggerack Lancers also has another issue where it causes their damage reduction effect to double. So one of the things that I reported back in the day was that the Daggerack Lancer's counterattack, for some reason, doubled the damage resistance while charging, and this also allowed them to apply to the actual animation itself. So there was something causing a double up. So when they use that slashing animation, not only for when they counterattack, but when they actually even use it for basic attack, they would have ridiculous amounts of damage resistance. And when I say ridiculous amount, it would send anyone to minimum. Anyone to minimum. So if you dealt like 4,000 damage, you would deal like 400, maybe 200 damage. Well, ZT wins. Obviously, massive advantage. We're just waiting for that ending there. Massive losses in the first, second, and third attack for BOD. Trying out those spear sergeants, I do realize that like the spear sergeants were not going to be meta, but they're kind of ridiculous in their own way. I don't like how things are designed sometimes. That is a lot of cavalry still. I didn't expect the Smachian Stalwarts to come out either. Both sides were using a lot of Smachian Stalwarts, but I wouldn't think that they would be a threat. Honestly, I don't think they would be much of a threat. Yes, I have not done much more than a 300 damage with my hero to Daggerak Lancers. And yeah, that can totally happen. Um, you have a few things to keep in mind.
What's your business here?
We're playing with damage reduction amounts in the like basically we're dealing with damage reduction amounts that reduces damage beyond 100%. And you kind of just got to figure out where they come from. And Daggerak Lancers is just it's been an issue from when they reworked their rally to me shortly after. I think it was shortly after Tyranny. I don't think it was during Tyranny because they only did Cataphracts during that time. I think shortly afterwards they did Daggerak Lancers. And this is the thing that always got me as well. Like, it's not like Daggerak Lancers were weak before the Mastery. It's only after the Mastery that people kind of remembered that Daggerak Lancers are kind of redonkulous. But it could also be due to the fact that Daggerak Lancers do get that CC immunity. So the counterattack does come out, and the counterattack probably comes out much more than if it was previously. But I might be wrong about that. It's been a while since Daggerak Lancers have come out, and the Mastery has changed a few things. Not to mention, like, the logic for the rally to me has changed as well.
Don't hit like a weakling.
I'm nobody, but I have been kissed by eagles.
But I'm just an enjoyer of CB, and I'm just one of the few people that probably hate cavalry. Well, I say one of the few people. I would believe that the developers refuse to change cavalry because more people like it than they hate it. I don't know. People refuse to want to change cavalry.
Come, let me see what you're capable of.
That's the thing. People hate range more than cavalry, which is something that like I've kind of known for a long time, but I like it's either that a lot of the people that used to be around and that hate cavalry are gone, or they've grown to like cavalry because they just got used to it. And yeah, I would say people who hate cavalry and the way they're designed is the minority.
May the song come your next.
How to make people hate cavalry. Simple as that. Sorry. How to make people hate cavalry? I don't know. Like, people don't, players don't, for some reason, don't hate OP stuff. As long as they're counterable, like, I can use such and such unit to beat cavalry and stuff, they kind of just end up coping. I don't know. Like, people hate range purely because people who use range aren't fighting, technically. Like, it feels, oh, how to explain?
I'm nobody, but I exist.
Unchivalrous. It's kind of like the I feel like people's hatred for
I have
range
nothing but
is
your
kind
side
of
of the
like
world.
how the French view range. They hated they hated their own range units. Um, I think there was an instance where French cavalry charged the backs of their own archers or crossbowmen, and they just ran them down. And it was really and that's just really bad and just really sad. Um, CB refuses to fix the cavalry problem, and I think they've realized that range can't be kept weak if we're going to have a little bit of a range variety. And they've kind of done that, which is surprising. The unfortunate thing is that no one likes it. It's so funny as well. It's just like they've complained about range being strong, or like the developers focusing on range, but the game's kind of been in a better state now that range adds a little bit more variety. And it's really stupid how it adds variety, because anything without a shield basically becomes pin cushions, and so you just end up using a lot of shields. But a lot of shields gets beat, so you end up in this cycle. You can end up in this counter cycle, which is really stupid because people don't want range to be part of this counter cycle. I just find it really funny overall. What is your opinion on range,
Need the
Vardas?
song
I
coming
know
in?
that you hate cavalry, same as I do. I've hated cavalry since the beginning, really. Um, kind of. It's, I wouldn't say marketed as. Realistically, the Janissaries weren't marketed as anti-cavalry. They were just Janissaries. It was just, again, normally units were just very generic. If anything, the Pavis, sorry, if anything, the Gilded Age Pavis and Fortebraccios were both designed to be anti-cavalry, and of course, the Fortebraccios were intended as a counter to the Winged Hussars. Not that that worked out very well either. So, yeah. And for all intent and purposes, Pavis never were really good against cavalry. Even now, Pavis are really bad. They have a hidden 15% bonus, they get another 30% through their veterancy line, and they still do shit for all damage against cavalry. And it's just really funny, because you have cavalry that counters range damage, and cavalry that don't get stunned. A
I'm
range
nobody.
can be engaging and fun. Like, you just take a look at the javelin units. Every single one of the javelin units is way more engaging. And it would be easy. Yeah, it would be easy to kind of like replicate that onto ranged units, but they don't. They don't. They don't change the glass cannon, which is one of the major points. They don't change the damage attenuation, which I think is a really good way to balance range. So, such that, like, the further you are away, the less damage you deal. So, you want to be up close and personal. And of course, like,
Know that you can use
it's really
Supercooler to strengthen
sad
your units, or
because
gain
you
access
have
to others.
really good hybrid units that could work in both, but don't. Tertials, of course. First and foremost, tertials. They should be good in melee, but they're not. They're terrible, absolutely awful. They actually got nerfed recently after they kind of bug fixed their melee, but yeah. Look how interesting Phalanx abilities are. I love them. Then there is muskets. Only Shenji has grenades. Tertials has stupid triple shot ability. Fuck. Phalanx abilities are mostly mostly just like flexibility things. I think
Or gain access to others.
I think it's not the Phalanx's abilities themselves that makes them interesting. I think the concept of the natural strength of Phalanx is what makes them interesting. And what I mean by that is they can brace in a direction and just face that direction, or they can swivel.
Use Supercooler to strengthen your units,
These
or
two
gain access to
factors
others.
are very powerful and logistically, like, really makes them really
Know that
flexible,
you can use Supercooler
adaptable.
to strengthen your
I mean,
units, or
the
gain
swivel
access to
makes them
others.
flexible. The choice between just bracing in a single direction or being able to turn
Hang
is
tight, my
s-
friend.
is what makes
Feel the
them
song coming in.
adaptable. I mean that all muskets are identical and do they all deal damage and they only
Feel the song
do one
coming
thing.
in.
They deal damage. Bonus, every single pike unit does the exact same thing. Every single like you think about it like this, like the only reason Shenji is interesting is because besides
I'm
them
not ready,
shooting,
but I am.
they actually throw grenades. And that's interesting. Don't get me wrong.
Let me see what you're capable
But
of.
they're still muskets. RPG is different from halberdiers. Yeah, because IPG has
Feel the
advance.
song coming
They
in.
have a very powerful ability. But generically, they're still just a brace. You would still just either have them on attack mode or have them braced. The fact that they have a very powerful ability doesn't really change very much. Halberdiers, like, don't get me wrong, they have the difference between their normal brace and their phalanx brace, but the reality is that they're still bracing. The intricacies of the unit themselves only lend to the fact that we are looking for differences that are there instead of looking at what the unit does, which is very generic. Like, every unit's just going to end up generic at some point. At some point, every single assault unit's going to just attack and just bash or like they're going to have like some kind of attack steroid. Is what I'm trying to say. Everything just ends up being the same, Varnus. How they are different is kind of flavor text for for like how it's kind of flavor text. If that makes sense, I'm not sure how to explain it. I'll be back in a second. Interesting that they'd bring out double shot. I'll be honest, double shot not exactly greatest. Well, yes and no. Here's the thing, like the intricacies between the, let's say, the intricacies between the Imperial Javelineers and the Javelin Sergeants are very minor. Minor. But it's so important to us because it is these differences that makes us evaluate their value. And don't get me wrong, they both still throw javelins. The actual damage effects and kind of like other things all attribute to differences between the unit, but they're still generically javelin units. There's no there's no real core difference between these two things. However, obviously the Imperial Javelineers also have the shield bash, I mean the shield throw skill, which makes them completely different. And this is not like let's say there's a different skill. Double double shot from the sergeants is not different in a way that makes them uniquely different. It's still two sets of javelin throws, but it's just a single ability. No, I would disagree. Both the javelin Imperial Javelineers and Javelin Sergeants are near identical in kind of gameplay. The only problem is that there's two differences. Imperial Javelineers have a much denser formation and they're faster. Because of their shield throw, they also have an alternate. But for all intent and purposes, you're going to end up just throwing javelin 90% of the time, if not 99% of the time, and that doesn't make them too different from each other. The only the other thing is that ideally they're kind of different because I know that people like using the Imperial Javelineers to snipe heroes more in particular, and Javelin Sergeants are more uh, because they can throw more javelins in a shorter amount of time. They're normally used as a counter to infantry, and so they can output more DPS. They have a higher DPS in the end. Which is really funny as well, because theoretically, the Imperial Javelineers should actually be better against shielded units because of their higher block break base and chance to instantly block break.
Sparta's might.
Crashes right through the first lot.
First blood.
Imperial Javelineers. What? They didn't have the cannons ready? No! Right on top of the cannons.
The power of Sparta. Spartans fear no war.
Look at that lag. Spartans still pushing through both sides. VOD, what has happened? Your lines are crumbling super fast.
Sparta's might.
Not enough Spartans? Maybe the heroes dying out as well?
Strength.
Like, it says you have 11 11 heroes still alive, but it feels like none of you are on the field right now.
This is Sparta.
Δώσε μου λίγο λάδι. Θα τους κάνω στάχτη.
Für König und Vaterland. The power of Sparta. Für König und Vaterland.
And yeah, Barnes, don't get me wrong. Like, I'd definitely love javelins to be good in melee as well, but they're never going to do that. Like, they're not going to make them actually good. What a trip. That just wiped the remaining 4 of them, I think.
Für König und Vaterland. This is Sparta. Für König und Vaterland. Spartans fear no war. Für König und Vaterland.
Exactly. Intricacies in the unit themselves are things that players will naturally pick up on. And even if for the most part, like, the units are very similar, they're still different units in these areas. Kind of like, yeah. So, as you explained, like, if you had 2 different musket units, one musket unit did a lot of damage in a short amount of time, or did a burst of damage, and then had long reload time, versus a musket unit that did a small amount of damage, but really, really fast, you would play them way differently because of the nature of the units themselves. But they're both just musket units. They would still be used as musket units, but how you use them is different. Kind of like how, starting off with a bit of a squish, whoa! How did they get that one come through? Cataphracts come in from the rear. We also have, oh my god, that's a lot of cavalry just like in the mix there. We also have the Chevaliers in there. Does look like ZT is very strong. Exactly. Every single cavalry unit is used the exact same way. You run over your enemy, and that's it. That's literally it. Like, there is no real difference between the Yan Yu Daos and the Courtiers. One is an actual charge. One is an attack. Like, the actual result and limitations might be different. I mean, the actual result is the same thing. You still kill everything. What they do is the exact same thing. But how they do those things are different to us players, and we kind of attribute that as kind of like an immersion level thing. Yeah, it's very depressing.
The power of Sparta! Child's play!
Like, even though there's no thing that, like, a lot of things without like a traditional charge and stuff, you basically use it the exact same way as a generic charge. ZT just crushing it. Yeah, to me as well. Like, I don't I don't really see or think that abilities are that different because they're not. They're honestly not. You're going to end up in a situation where you can't make unique abilities. You're just going to add more flavor text. Like, don't get me wrong, the Lancelot's number 2 ability, Shield Bash, it's just a Shield Bash. We have the Condottieri Shield Bash, we have the Paladin Shield Bash. Like, it's all the same thing. It does similar things, but what it does and how it's implemented is all slightly different. They're all the same thing though. So when we talk about units being different and unique, it can be something very minor, or it could be something that actually different. Like the extent of the difference doesn't need to be all that large. And trust me when I say that players will like go in to figuring out optimal differences for things. Hell, like um I remember I complained about how the
Never
Alt
surrender!
Halberdiers and the Halberdiers were slightly different in stats. And because the Alp Halberdiers had superior stats than the regular Halberdiers, I was kind of pissed. I was kind of pissed.
Know that you can use Cicacula to strengthen your units, or gain access to others. What's your
It's hard.
business here?
It's hard to put in words how simplistically stupid players are. Definitely not. CB2 won't happen. They won't make a CB2 because there's no point. They don't because how they're treating CB1 makes me believe that CB2 is not a possibility. Because CB2 implies an intention
See what you're capable of.
to make a better game. They're not making CB better, so they can't make so it they don't have the intention of making a better game. And I know I'm just like ranting this entire time, but um, what can I say? The matches is just super boring right now. Um, it's really jittery to watch because of the amount of lag spike we're getting as well, which honestly I don't experience this in normal sieges, which is quite funny. If anything, Varnas, they'll do what Total War did, double down on the theme and throw out less content but more expensive.
I have nothing but zero salt in all the world.
So they're gonna burn through really, really fantastical themes.
Let me see what you're capable of.
And I think I will be around to play CB because there's just no other game I'm just interested in, or I'm just so addicted to CB I won't stop.
You look tired.
And
Need this song
the
coming
sad
in.
reality is that like there are more there are a lot of players like me that play CB because it's just that game. Um 02. So ZT has 2, BOD has 0. Lich, I'll be honest, no one banned Spartan Chosen, so the games are really yeah, I know.
Let me see
No
what
one banned Spartan Chosen and the games are really boring to watch. Yeah, I know. They're just super boring. There's barely anything interesting in like what these teams are doing.
come. Let me see what you're
Yeah, no flamers. I mean, like, even if you did have flamers, the Spartans would still roll you over. I don't even know why bother banning flamers if you're just going to spam Spartans. Spartans is not countered by flamers. I don't know who said this, but the reality is that flamers deal flat damage, and it's only like 800. Maybe you can get to 1300 if you're lucky. Well, not lucky. You need to set it up, but oh, this is Eastern Conference. They're technically it's kind of like they're fighting for the Eastern Conquerors title. So in this case, BOD is still number one in
I'm
APAC.
nobody,
They just missed out on the East. I think they're fighting for
I have
Conqueror
nothing
of the East
but
or the
heroes
Eastern
songs
Conqueror or
around
something.
the world.
There's no prize for this as well. I mean, yeah, there's no monetary prize for this. Well, if you were here earlier, they did a couple of things. Like they brought a lot of spear sergeants, ended up in failure. There's plenty of stalwarts coming out, which is very funny. But still, lots of Spartans. Just a ridiculous amount of Spartans. I think it's like 14 Spartans for each team so far. Like the max I've seen.
I have nothing but heroes songs from all over the world.
know that you can use Cibula to strengthen your units or gain access to others.
I'm nobody, but I have been kissed by universe.
Let me see what you're capable of.
I have
I've really realistically just been like, oh, I'll be back in a minute, actually.
A sovereign spark is indeed a wonder.
Let me see what you're capable of. Strengthen your units, or gain access to others. Know that you can use Secure to strengthen your units, or gain access to others.
You look tired.
Let me see what
May this
you're.
song calm your nerves.
My will becomes a harp and bow before the wind.
Know that you can use Secure to strengthen your units, or gain access to others.
I'm nobody.
My resolve
By now.
is firm. No storm or frost could ever bend my will.
I have nothing.
Da-da-da-da-da,
Little
To
song to
strengthen
stop
your
the
da-da-da.
units,
world.
or gain access to others.
Okay.
You look tired, my friend.
They did start the
May
battle,
this
so I
song
should be
calm
able
your
to get
nerves.
in observer mode very shortly.
Know that you can
Actually,
use
I'm gonna
Secure
go
to
say
strengthen
goodbye
your
to my
units,
nieces.
or gain access to others.
A sovereign spark
Sandra.
is indeed a wonder.
Ba, 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 ba.
Know that you can use Secure
I'm
to
just gonna end up
strengthen your
like just
units,
ranting about
or
the same
gain access
thing I
to
ranted
others.
about last time, and I always do this. Like, I don't know how I've just like stayed the same for so long. Like, I think I don't even think I've like changed very much of what I complain about, and somehow I'm still playing CB. I don't complain about the maps because the maps themselves are just like a means to an end. I complain about the units more than anything else. I complain about heroes as well, but heroes are just completely just dead. The hero balance against units is uh, so so lopsided towards units that it just doesn't matter anymore. Oh my goodness. No, those are Chevaliers. That's a lot of Chevaliers. Problem is that they're going up against Stalwarts. Does look like ZT kind of knows what's going to happen. I think they predicted a sally out of some sort. That's why they're mostly bringing out the Stalwarts. And if you didn't know, Stalwarts are actually really good anti-cavalry, which is really hilarious because a cavalry charge is meant to beat heavy shield units. So we'll see. We'll see what's going to happen with a mass of Chevaliers. And it's kind of fun. These strategies are really fun. Um, I've got one good question: is how they're planning to deal with the Stalwarts. They're not easy. Front-on charges, like you can overwhelm them, but I wouldn't risk doing that. Also, what is your second unit for the Chevaliers? Demez Crossbowmen. Oh my goodness. They also brought out a bunch of Outriders. Oh, very nasty stuff. Did they realize? I think they pulled back. I think they... Oh my goodness. They stopped the assault. That's nice. They actually decided to pull back. ZT totally like 100% knew what was happening. So that's funny. Also have incendiary archers. Good for stopping cavalry now. What a deployment as well. Just tons of artillery straight off the bat. Now we're swinging around here. Honestly, it would be really easy to deal with those Chevaliers. I mean, the companions. Oh my goodness, these Outriders must be bloody annoying. Smack bang right on those Mez. Oh no! What a failure in the charge there. Yep. Dead right on top of that cavalry. Oh no! Gets swiped out there. Just get shot through! Oh, brutal. Oh! Very surprising. Winged Hussars could not... Oh, yeah, because CC immunity. 2 seconds of CC immunity allowed them to to plow through. Oh, the Stalwarts slowly creeping in. Oh, and also some Kev tools. Iron Reapers rock around to smash these Stalwarts that are slowly pushing forward. Unfortunately, getting out now. Whoa! Winged Hussar comes straight out! Half cancelled. Looks like they got a Stalwart on the wall, probably from a wall climb. Another Winged Hussar charge comes through. And that's just the terrifying thing. Like, cavalry's got so much open space around here. They're about to lose the A point. Could easily lose the base point as well, but I think most of the team is over here. Smashes right through the center. Doesn't look efficient though. Oh. Boom! Takes out another 2. Iron Reapers going through the center. I mean, going straight in it. Really good. Let's see how long they last. Gets charged. Get taken out. No. Unfortunately, the Chevaliers have been killed. Very expensive troop. Unfortunately, the stalwarts were probably really efficient against them. Now the tough thing is to see what happens in the remaining of the battle. Both sides probably taking out quite a bit of losses. ZT also just going straight ham on those ranged units. They're given no quarters. Boom! Oh my goodness, brutal! Chops the Spartans right in half. Gets caught by the men-at-arms there. We have Spahis as well. What a lovely unit to bring out. Now, used quite a bit. Unfortunately, I'm just going to say it. ZT has way more Spartans available. Just the sheer numbers of, like, the stalwarts, it was kind of crazy. Like, I can't get over just, like, how big the unit sizes are now for the stalwarts. At 40 models! Each model is pretty nasty. Probably not as strong as, like, some other things, but the sheer bulk and size of, like, the stalwarts just puts them head and shoulders above, like, other units. And do mind, stalwarts are not fully defensive. They're high. Oh, that's a little bit of a glitch there. They do good damage. I say good. Probably around the what 1800 mark to 2 targets, which is not bad. That's actually really good for how difficult they are to kill. And there's 40 of them. This is kind of a same situation as just like Phalanx. Phalanx is just a lot of them. Probably better than Phalanx in this case because they deal more damage and are tankier. Ooh. Trying to brute force the Phalanx, the stalwarts here. Does look like a human goes through the center. Tries to just charge it. Oh, that's not going to work. Great at stopping charges. Boom! Winged Hussars crumple the 2 units of Spartans. Fortunately, right now, just a lot of shots just going straight into shields. This is the problem. They're going to lose a lot of ground as they can barely kill anything because there's just so many shields. POD is just probably running out of units and there's 9 whole minutes left. Just a wave of infantry. Got a little bit of a flank happening. Let's see if he catches anything. Right into the companions. Unfortunately, companions, even a shot right into the companions. Companions survive and just murder the Raetier Pistoliers in a few seconds. Oh, that's very interesting that they use arrow rain on the healing archers. Not what I expected. Oh. No matter how much healing, if you die just instantly, I don't think you got a shot. Did make a kind of like a hole in that line, but there's just way too many units. Also, the supply point got locked up as well. ZT just crushing it with the Stalwarts and the Spartan Chosen. I definitely enjoy a good old Sally from the Chevaliers. Unfortunately, Chevaliers are just not very strong. The crossbows are way stronger now, but because of the shields, it just was impossible for them to deal damage. It was kind of like an even exchange, which is kind of surprising, but at the same time, it kind of made sense. Anyway, we got another set of battles coming up. I'll see you guys in a little bit.
What's your business here? Come, let me see what you're capable of. Know that you can use Cubicula to strengthen your units, or gain access to others.
I have nothing. Your song commander. The world.
Know that you can use Cubicula to strengthen your units, or gain access to others.
No store or frost could ever bend my will.
Know that you can use Cubicula to strengthen your units, or gain access to others.
My loyalty to my country is inviolable.
Know that you can use Cubicula to strengthen your units, or gain access to others.
You
Know
look
that you
tired,
can use
my
Cubicula
friend.
to strengthen your
May the
units,
song come
or
your
gain
next.
access to others. Come, let Let me see what you're capable of.
Though young and untested, my resolve stands firm. No storm or frost could ever bend my will. The shovel is indeed the moment. Though young and untested, my resolve stands firm. No storm or frost could ever bend my will.
Use Secula to strengthen your units, or gain access to others.
I'm no buddy.
Greetings, O noble and kind imperial provider.
Nobody else is fighting us.
Know that you can use Secula to strengthen your units or gain access to others.
nobody, but I can play by ears.
Know that you can use Secacula to strengthen your units or gain access to others.
The sovereign
Know that you can use Secacula to strengthen your units or gain access to others.
You look tired. May this song calm your nerves.
though young and untested, my resolve stands firm. No store or onslaught could ever bend my will.
Know that you can use Secacula to strengthen your units or gain access to others.
Just reading.
I have nothing but hero songs from all over the world.
Come, let me see what you're capable of.
I will, come and bow before valor.
I'm nobody, but I am.
The sovereign is indeed.
Know that you can use Secacula to strengthen your units or gain access to others.
Though young and untested, my resolve stands firm. No store or onslaught could prevent my will.
You look tired, my friend. May this song calm your nerves.
Know that you can use Secacula to strengthen your units or gain access to others.
The sovereign is indeed.
Come, let me see what you're capable
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We're on to the second match of the day. They did just start the battle, but I'll go through the pick ban real quickly. I got this. So, we have Pinnacle versus TWT. Pinnacle rolled higher than TWT. They banned out Bailu, or otherwise known as White Elk Fort. TWT bans out Constantinopolis, and then Pinnacle didn't choose Grassland. They chose Hailung Fjord, and TWT chose Wall Fort. Pinnacle bans out the Dagarek Lancers, Spartan Chosen, and the Harangs while safe picking the Medal Battalion. Interesting. Medal Battalion did just get buffed, so great to see them on the field. TWT bans out the Sunwoods Valley, Shinji Grenades, and the Metallic Tors, but safe picks the Yanyud Owls. Still a strong cavalry, and should be fairly good against the Medal Battalion, who naturally has a lot of DR. So if they go top line, they'll get that 65% minimum, I think? I think it's 65% minimum. But those are the pick bans. We'll see Pinnacle attacking first on Highland Fjord. Should be starting very shortly. Hopefully it's a little bit more interesting than last round. Well, not to say that BOD didn't give us something interesting. I definitely do think the the defense on Harbour City was quite interesting. Though I could say they probably could have done something more spectacular. Something like a wall hold. All Iron Reapers or something. That would have been nice. Anyway, switching to live gameplay here on Highland Fjord's Pinnacle, coming out with lots of stalwarts, just a few medals actually, not that many. Plenty of paladins, plenty of stalwarts. We do have the Spartan Chosen Band. We have the Spahis coming out, which is a very interesting unit. Don't think they're very efficient. Looking at some important units, I think this is the Incendiary Archers. Wish they had some kind of identifying flame or something. That would make it easier. We have, obviously, the Siphonatioids for both sides, with Zycelian Militia coming out for Pinnacle as well. A little bit of Cav coming out for TWT. Strangely enough, even though they saved to pick the Yanyud Owls, they did not bring any. Very strange. Pinnacle has a lot of glaives. Glaives very popular for some reason. Horseback glaive probably coming in real handy. Smacking all of those important units. Kind of reminds me of Sphere back in the good old days where you used to right click and just headshot people. Alrighty. Mostly on the A side, we got one contingent of Yanyud Owls running away from that B side. Never want to be alone. Probably forgot to set his spawn. No matter. Front gate gets bashed down by the heroes. Full commit here. One Culverin to the face. We have some brave shots as well. Stalwarts to the front, holding that line. Off to a shaky start. Yanyud Owls, where you going? Swings in late. Still smacks that entire pile like crazy. Winged Hussars go straight through. I'm not sure what happened there. Another Yanyud Owl come from the side. Burning up from the front side. Iron Reapers to the front as well. Flamers still doing their job. 5 of them left. Doing really good, in fact. Pinnacle pushing through. TWT lost a few heroes. Few heroes still around. About to get sniped. One gets caught by a Corsair charge. The two probably just going to get out. Probably not. Another catch on the pike.
Für den König. Für König und Vaterland.
Really strong with that flamer on approach. Really good idea to just push right across. But probably too late now. Respawn does it. Locks them right in. Gonna switch over to the B side. We'll have to fight eventually. Let's see what happens. Fast spawn, honestly.
Für König und Vaterland.
Very rare for the case of getting stopped here at the sea point. I always say when you're on Heilong Fjord, no point switching sides. You're gonna have to fight them regardless. But could get up onto that secondary defensive line through the B section, through the B side real easily right now. Instead, looks like they're going through the stairs, in fact. Unit's going to come in a little bit late here. But looks like they're just going to give C. Just going to go right over the heads. Let's see if one smacks. No, just partial damage. No direct hits. Alright, retreat inside. Probably going to catch a couple of Soul Wars here. Does catch 2 of them. And a nice treb on those retreating units. Cavalry charge going to come through. Get stopped by a short sword. And they're going to clean up those cavalry lickety-split. Oh, fast as heck. Right onto the base point. No time wasted at all. Probably did not expect that. TWT charges straight into that. Somehow the Medal's holding on. Got Stalwarts and Medal's holding the line. A little bit of a surround here. Rear attack comes in. Well, semi-good? I can't tell. Finally finishes off that pile. Treb's a little bit overzealous here. Pushing on through, looking good for Pinnacle. Pinnacle looks to be taking this first match real fast. Supply point gets locked up. Heroes try to delay as much as possible. Here comes the short sword. Short sword should get some time. Whoa! It gets eviscerated, in fact. Unfortunately, cavalry comes in just too late. And what a start for Pinnacle. Just crushing it from the get-go. Flamers coming in huge, and a massive misstep from TWT, expecting a push through that small, a push towards the supply point. But instead they were bamboozled as they get attacked directly on the base point. Unfortunately, ill prepared and definitely caught by surprise. Just 2 simple battles ending the first match. How long did that take? About 4 minutes. Not sure what they could have done. I'm now thinking it wasn't the Spartan that was causing the issue for the replay. I think the replay is just being strained right now by something. But regardless, Pinnacle doing super well. I'm surprised by how popular the stalwarts are right now. I did suspect that like the stalwarts might have become efficient enough, but I didn't actually expect them to become meta. Not in the CBL at least.
Für König und Vaterland.
We're not talking a lot of damage, really. Maybe it's the combined defensive value plus the damage that's really sending it home. But Downs didn't seem to do a lot, which was disappointing. Expected a little bit more of a Madao pick, but maybe it was a safety precaution to keep them on their toes with the cavalry. Next set of battles should start shortly.
What's your business here?
Now we get to see TWT attack Pinnacle on Hailang Fjord. Wondering whether or not they got some more specials in their sleeve. I didn't catch the flamers from TWT's side. Wonder if they got sniped out fast.
Know that you can use Cibicula to strengthen your units, or gain access to others.
I have nothing. Hero souls from the world.
Know that you can use Cibicula to strengthen your units, or gain access to others.
A sovereign's is
Know that you can use Cibicula to strengthen
Don't
your units, or
hold
gain access to others.
back. You know everybody out there living something.
Come, let me see what you're capable of.
I'm nobody. But I have a sister.
Know that you can use Cibicula to strengthen your units, or gain access to others.
by royal decree I come and bow before the
Know that you can use Cibicula to strengthen your units, or gain access to others.
You look tired, my friend. Leave the song
Know
coming
that
in.
you can use Cibicula to strengthen your units, or gain access to others. Know that you can use Cibicula to strengthen your units, or gain access to others.
Oh, it will survive. It's just whether or not when they'll pull the plug. That's the thing. The current format is probably really low cost for high profit, so the profit margin might be really insanely high. The problem is that there's no chance for CB2 is because they have no intention of improving CB1, and so the only reason that they would do a CB2, normally when you make a sequel game, particularly for multiplayer, is that there is an upgrade that can't be done to the current game. Otherwise, a hard reset is not going to be taken lightly because it's just the current player base, like any current player base, would never accept a hard reset. So the only reason CB2 would ever come out is that there's either an upgrade or a game that's fundamentally different. So it won't. So if CB2 does come out, it won't be focused on like the PvP experience kind of thing. Maybe it will be like a single player campaign kind of uh, RPG with RNG elements or something. So you have to fundamentally change the base of the game for there to be a CB2. I would love for them to rework mechanics in the game. We know they can because they've done it before. The problem is that with whether or not they're willing to do that, and that's where I feel the problem is. They're they're not willing to change the game for the better, or at least they're not willing to change the game so drastically at its core. They're just going to keep feeding the beast and just keep us eating up the content as long as we're willing to pay. So it's essentially going to take another game on the market to compete against CB in order to force them to change anything fundamental to the game. But that's unlikely to happen anyway, because more than likely is that even if there's another game similar to CB, there won't be an exodus straight away. What's probably going to end up happening is that it's going to create its own player base with its own intricacies because it will it will probably kind of build on top of what like CB has tread on before, but go in a different direction. But because they're still fundamentally different in this way, the player bases will remain split. So you won't end up with like two games taking from the same pie. You just end up with uh, two different sets of people eating two different sets of pies.
Know that you can use Secubula to strengthen your units or gain access to others.
And that's purely because our player base is just so small.
Secubula to strengthen your units
Um,
or gain access to others.
the reverse could happen as well, where a similar game to CB causes a surge in the genre, and it will collateral CB into new players flooding CB. That's also another possibility.
I'm nobody, but I have been kissed by millions.
That could also be it, because like
Know that you can use
it
Secubula to
depends
strengthen your
how the
units
games
or
it
gain access
depends
to
the
others.
players themselves and how like the games themselves rotate. I would
to strengthen your
think
units,
the
or
current
gain
design of
access to
CB
others.
doesn't really allow people to hop on and like hop off or hop on like the content train. So you're either with the content train keeping up with it, or well, you're barely keeping up with it, or you play play different
Use
games
Secula
for
to
a short amount of
strengthen your
time,
units,
and
or
you
gain
only
access
eat
to others.
very small chunks of the content. So games that pushes the content
Let
up
me see
front
what you're
will
cooking
probably
with.
be way more entertaining for you in the end. But again, like
Use Secula to strengthen your
it
units,
really
or gain
depends.
access to others.
There's definitely like you can have
Let me see what you're
players
cooking
who
with.
just are fundamentally like different depending on the game.
Know that
Like
you can use
you can have one
Secula to
person play like
strengthen
three
your
separate
units,
games,
or gain
and they all
access
could
to
be
Next
others.
like
time,
super intense, and they just have a
may
lot of
the
time.
song come your nose.
But the majority of your gamers are middle aged, like not middle aged, but like in the workforce. They don't have like 8 hours a day to spend on a game. I mean, like I do, because I work part time.
Though young and untested, my resolve stands firm. No storm or frost could ever bend my will.
Know that you can use Secula to strengthen your units, or gain access to others.
A soldier's path is indeed a lonely one.
And you'll get this a lot anyway, where people like to just stick with a game just
Know that you can
because
use Secula to
it's
strengthen
just
your
like
units, or gain access to others.
a comfort thing. They don't. I mean,
Though young and untested,
I
my
have definitely
resolve
gotten to the
stands firm.
stage where
No
I
storm
hate
or
playing
frost could
games,
ever bend my will.
and I only play them because I have tricked myself in. I'm so addicted to games that
Know that you
I
can use
can't
Secula
stop.
to strengthen your units,
I can't stop myself from like playing it, even though I don't technically enjoy it anymore. And that's really stupid. No one should ever be playing a game if they don't enjoy it. But but games are designed to do that, and they trick you with all of these stuff and things.
know that you can use Secula to strengthen your units,
Greetings,
or gain access
by
to others.
royalty and honor,
To
and
be honest,
glory and valor.
not very many. There's not very many like games made nowadays that ever respect your time. A lot of things just end up being fundamentally a bit of a time waster. Um, but at the same time, people love grinding, love that kind of sense of using your time and thinking it's valuable because you're experiencing the game. And when you experience a game for the first time, that's normally like how a lot of things happen. I expect like a lot of new players who enter CB will be like, "Wow, this is a really cool game. I've got a lot of things to go through." But as a long-time player, I've been at the end. I restart at the start, and it's just like I don't want to be there. I don't want to be at the end. I don't want to be at the start anymore. I don't even want to be in the middle. Very interesting for TWT going all the way to the B side. Could be a B rush. A B rush could cause a complete collapse to the defensive line. Not that they defend the C point very often, but they could be put in a bad spot if the B gets taken fast. Does look like they do spot the mass push towards the B section. Gate gets broken down. Lickety split. Let's see what happens. We have a grape shot blasting right on top. Flamers at the front yet again. Boom, boom, boom. Burn up that front. Cavalry tries to swipe on through. He gets killed on the approach. Really, really hard commit here by TWT. Unfortunately, it does look like to be a failure, but they're still sending troops in. Here comes another Yanyu Dao. Gets stopped in its track. There goes a Monastic Knights charge straight into the wall, but does look good for Pinnacle. Pinnacle holds that pretty damn tight.
Für König und Vaterland.
Does look like another 3-0, doesn't it?
König.
Let's take a little bit of a recap here real fast.
Für König und Vaterland.
Wow, 300 odd losses probably.
Für König und Vaterland.
That is a tragic 15 unit losses to like 2.
Für den König.
Alright, we got Paladins at the front, along with men-at-arms as well. Charged by the cavalry. We also saw some Spahis trample through. Flamers still doing an amazing job. Cavalry does make a break. Just need to take out those Flamers. Flamers still on the field. Paladins slowly creeping up. We got some Iron Reapers in the mix as well. Iron Reapers from the enemy as well. Oh wait, no, only Iron Reapers from the enemy. But the Paladins are doing... Oh wait, no, take that back. Cavalry also plowing right through. Paladins just chugging. Just chugging along. Tough little buggers, aren't they? Winged Stars does make it out. Not a bad reversal, but unfortunately still down. We got a surge of defenders coming in force. Cavalry does take out the Paladins at the front. Oh, Paladins barely surviving actually. Monastic Knights off charge there. We got a stream of troops want to coming through or not. Just a leftover. Whoop. Would be interesting to see a rush here. Whoa, Monastic Knight takes a grape shot to the face. TWT still has plenty of resources. They got 4 minutes to go. Probably want to use some. Pinnacle does a double split. Wall break still not broken. Respawns are coming through. No permadeath just yet. Would be terrifying to see a permadeath come out. That would be unfortunate. Oh, a couple of guys down to green units. But nevertheless, this will probably be the last good fight. Starting off real hard. Spahis go leaping right over those stalwarts. Oh, this could be interesting. Cavalry charges and smashes through those ranks. Unfortunately, no kills. Bores on through. Slowly chipping away at that line. No adaptability. Getting flanked easily crumbles. A little bit of a spread out. Whoa, we have Lyconic Javelineers throws a volley. Not sure if it's any effective here. But a massive shields and massive tanks right now. Another cavalry charge does bash right through this time. I don't think the Corsaliers were even hindered at all. Iron Cap scouts gonna go. Whoa! What was that tracking? Another throw by the Javelineers. Respawn straight away. Nasty catch by the Spear Sergeants, apparently. Ooh, Iron Reaper's at the front, bashing down those Spear Sergeants. But we got Paladins reinforcing the line. This could be a tight fight. We've got Silidars is also flanking. Can't really bulk up right now. The heroes are making a mess of things. Does look good as Pinnacle does seem to be pushing back. Take a widescreen shot right now. Both sides down to very few units, but I think TWT is out of good units. I think they rushed it a little bit right into the jaws of Pinnacle. Let's see what they've got. Ooh, we got some permadeath coming out as well. Whoa, more than half the team is permadeath.
Together we stand.
That is no good at all.
Together we stand. A walk in
Could
the
be
park.
a visual thing.
Für den König. Together we stand.
Pretty terrific reversal, I'm not gonna lie. The Paladins did come in real hard.
A walk in the park. Together we stand.
I think if TWT could have slow rolled the Paladins, they could have outmuscled a lot of fights there. I think they were rushing the Paladins a bit too much, trying to get into the fight. But nevertheless, there goes the second battle, much more better than the first one. But Pinnacle's still holding a really good advantage from start to finish. Really tough to come back after losing once. Right from the get-go, just loses a ton of units. But fortunately, as they attacked the A point, it did swing back a little bit. I think it was here that was second attack. I think they failed with the carry through. Again, probably just should have slow rolled it, as they're probably respawning from that supply point. And again, I would have probably just kept going on the A side and switch and just go straight across to this supply point or straight to C. It's my opinion, of course, that in that particular situation, switching over to B would be less advantageous for you, particularly if it's coming down to the wire. You got very few units left on both sides. So that supply point becomes more vital as units become more important. And it's particularly after a major battle, respawn units, that's going to be pretty difficult. Because they're at full health, and a lot of your units are probably going to be on low health. Paladins don't have perpetual healing, but they do have quite a bit of healing.
Don't hit like a weak.
They still need time, though. Time is of the essence. And they had good time as well. 3 minutes, 2 minutes to finish there. So they didn't need to rush. For sure didn't need to rush. If they were going for time, I would have definitely probably opened up harbor. That harbor section would have been way more efficient. And probably way less risky.
I have nothing but hero songs from all over the world.
我们不做老乡，一个二个都雄赳赳。What's your business here?
哎呦，
Know that you can use Signicula to strengthen your units or gain access to others. Let me see what you're capable of.
do 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 do. I thought the next battle would be a bit faster than this, but we have Wolfort next coming right up. TWT is still attacking against Pinnacle. I think this will be fairly more interesting, but like, I'm seeing a lot of stalwarts just really cancelling out a lot of this cavalry nonsense. Really strong against cavalry, by the way. Kind of insane how effective they are with that CCI doctrine. Unfortunately, it's 60 seconds. Doesn't really give a lot of time. Not to mention, they're not dying either. Take that reduced damage from cavalry. Well, cavalry charges, not just cavalry in general.
Know that you can use Signicula to strengthen your units or gain access to others.
You look tired. May this song calm your nerves.
Know that you can use Signicula to strengthen your units or gain access to others. Don't hit like a weakling. Let me see what you're capable of. Strengthen your units or gain access to others. Know that you can use Signicula to strengthen your units or gain access to others.
I have nothing but hero song for the world.
Let me see what you're capable of.
Alright, they just started the match on Wolfort. So, TWT, are you gonna use some more cavalry, or we're gonna see a lot more infantry play out? Definitely love to see a full-on wall horde.
Let me see what you're capable of.
ever bend my will.
Know that you can use Signicula to strengthen your units, or gain access to others.
I'm nobody, but I have been kissed by Muse.
A sovereign's path is indeed a lonely path.
You
Know
look
that
tired,
you can use
my
Signicula
friend.
to strengthen your
May this
units,
song calm
or
your
gain
nerves.
access to others. Know that you can use Signicula to strengthen your units, or gain access to others.
Greetings. By royal decree and command, prepare before valor.
I have nothing but more songs from all over the world.
Ugh. Alright. I'm just having a little bit of a fight with Alice.
A sovereign's path is indeed a lonely path.
Know that you can use Signicula to strengthen your units, or gain access to others. Come, let me see what you're capable of. Know that you can use Signicula to
I don't
strengthen your
believe the
units,
slow is a separate
or gain
instance
access to
because that's
others.
not how it works for Rattan. That's not how it works for Rattan Pikeman, and it shouldn't have. And that's not how it. That's not how it works. That's not how it works for Rattan Pikeman, and it shouldn't have worked. It shouldn't. It shouldn't work like that for Rattan Vipers, but whatever. I'll need to check it myself somehow. I don't even know how to check it. Oh, I didn't even take a look at the units just now. But anyway, we're on to our third battle. 2 for Pinnacle, 0 for TWT. So TWT really needs to win the next 2 battles if they want to have a chance at sending this down to a tiebreaker. TWT attacking first. Plenty of cavalry. My goodness. So much cavalry, in fact. Wonder whether or not they will get an opportunity to use it all. Whoa! TWT Rolls off the wall. He catches the short bow. He does catch them. Sacrifice of the Iron Cap swordsman. Wow, massive retreat. Couldn't manage to destroy the bridge. If they had just a few more shots, maybe they could have. The Culverin does get trebbed, but why did it look like it go wide? Did look like it went wide there. Whoa!
Nothing my axe can't handle.
Jewel Blades trying to catch each other here. Bridge is safe though. Going right across the wall. Catches the mole. Unfortunate. Pinnacle losing one hero after the other. This might be a bit dangerous to walk across here. I think they have Culverins trained on this. Ooh. Oh, it's the slither of health. Did they not have another shot? Oh, that's brutal. Oh, they have a mortar. Could send that to the ground. Oh, man. Oh, this could be so good. Break the wall. Could kill off reinforcements here. Reinforcements coming across the wall now. There's a big-ass Treb. Boom! Takes out a whole chunk of units. Treb hits hard. And we have also a contingent coming down from the B side. Closing out onto these units. Another Treb. Gonna hit the siege tower. 1, 2, 3 shots go in. 4 shots. 5. Oh, no, 5 hits the wall there. Iron Reapers charge straight in. Shoot, shoot, chugga, chugga. Here comes some slaps from behind. Gets stun locked. But manages to carve a path right through that stalwarts. Absolutely brutal. I didn't even see this fight over here. They're still fighting on the bottom of the stairs. Medals get completely bodied by cavalry. Looks like the Paladin's going to finish off, but here comes the swarm of cavalry. Medals and Stalwarts going to create a wall right now. Manages to resist the cavalry. Going to go for the supply point. Stalwarts better get ready. Here comes a charge. Not facing the right direction. But holding strong. Stalwarts does get cleaned up by the last set of cavalry. Corsaliers did make it through. A point being captured now. This is the. We also have Yan Yudels making her way.
Not one step back.
Finally, the Stalwarts come up from behind. Does snipe quite a few of them. Oh, brutal charge by the what looks of a human and maybe Corsaliers. Unfortunately, the other 2 units of Stalwarts still managed to catch. Whoa, just a tail of that formation there. Also, a bit of a trade between the Yanudaos and the Winged Asars. Just way too fast. And snipes out! Oh my goodness. Sniped out a bunch of heroes just now. Brute force charge round corner with the Chevaliers. Just full-on mass cavalry. Another charge going for the side of the Medals. Medals holding all the time right now. But unfortunately, looking really bad for Pinnacle. The Stalwarts are strong now, but unfortunately, the Paladins will clean up, well, just completely surrounding this Medal right now. Walking right over it with cavalry. Got... Oh! What? Just ignoring that companions lose the center line, but get swept up by the human charge. My goodness. Stalwarts could always deal with cavalry. It just depends. It just depends on a little bit of logistics. It's kind of like a weird thing. Like, they're really good against cavalry, at the same time they're not. Little bit of a slower pace now. Some reason Pinnacle, sorry, has so much more troops just left over. Just the numbers is just, like, really wonky. But that's probably because of the choice of using cavalry here. It's going to be a bit tough, I would say, for TWT to kind of like hold any advantage. They really need to kind of like focus on crushing Pinnacle. And we'll probably only have like one good fight left and a bit of a scuffed fight for the finish. Gotta be careful. Gotta keep these units alive. Well, here comes kicking it off straight away. Kind of like a half charge there, but gets stopped by the Medals. Monastic Knights go for the center, does make it through, hits the Winged Hussars. Cavalry coming in from all sides. Coming in from the rear is the most dangerous. The stalwarts are not facing that direction. Getting completely encircled here, but barely holding on. We got humans also swinging through. A charge by the Winged Hussars gets stopped by the poleaxe. Countercharge by the Winged Hussars for Pinnacle. Pinnacle is surprisingly coming out on top.
Them!
Boom! A nice brace right in front of that Cortalia charge. Oh, this could be bad. Gonna get surrounded here. And Iron Reaper's on the field. Nice job with that intercept. Winged Hussars make it to the supply point. Could clean up these archers and these heroes very quickly. Unfortunately not. The heroes actually just beat the crap out of that unit. Plus the other heroes. Right now, one by one, Pinnacle here is just sending in their heroes just to get killed. But slowly does it. We got something tougher like the Iron Reapers and the Stalwarts coming in. But not giving them any edge. Snipes out. Oh my goodness, nice dodge as well. I don't think a single one of the TWT heroes got killed by that charge just now. There's still 6 whole minutes to go. Plenty of units for Pinnacle, but Pinnacle doesn't seem to be able to get them online. They really need to die to respawn. TWT doing an amazing job with the hero kills there. I think there's going to be a couple of permadeath. Whoa, does look like there's 4 permadeaths from Pinnacle. Let me just double check for TWT. TWT does have everyone up. Oh no, that's not great. Unfortunately, barely any units for TWT, so TWT is probably in a worse position. Doesn't mean they're out. TWT could be going for a victory by heroes here. They just need to focus down those heroes, kill them all, and you could easily deal with the units later. Still plenty of time. We've got some Rattans out here, really good in fact. Really strong unit against, well, really effective against like higher tier units. Unfortunately, these Iron Caps get slapped by the Zycelians. Zycelians should burn up those Rattans really fast, unfortunately. Oh, Spear Sergeants. You gotta, basically, we're bulking around the Spear Sergeants here. But the Paladins do seem to be doing an amazing job. Getting stopped out of nowhere. What is happening? But when push comes to shove, somehow TWT pulls out the victory. Now we have rows of Rattan pikemen popping up. Oh no, this is going to be a really big disaster if they can't wipe out these Rattans fast enough. And this, it is happening. These Rattans are refusing to die. Another charge could come through. Looks like they're aiming the heroes one by one. It's going to be up to the cleanup crew from the cavalry. 4 whole minutes to go. I think a lot more people are permadeath now. Yes, indeed. I think over half the Pinnacles team's permadeath right now. Just the Spear and the Glaive right now. Kevin, get on point. Well, Chang just died. Kevin's barely on point. Gets knocked off. And there we have it. Nice job, TWT, pulling out the victory at the very end there. My goodness, I did not expect you to pull the victory there. I did think Pinnacle had the advantage. But nevertheless, we're going to come down to a 4th battle. Can TWT hold the defense, or will Pinnacle close it out 3-1? Whew. A very exciting battle. And that's probably why a lot of people like cavalry. Cavalry is just all about moving around. Just attack, attack, attack. Beat up the enemy, circle them. And when you got the movement speed, you definitely can do a lot.
Greetings. By royal decree I come, and bow before valor.
Know that you can use Cibicula to strengthen your units, or gain access to others. Know that you can use Cibicula to strengthen your units, or gain access to others. Don't hit like a weakling.
Could we get an exciting field battle? Question mark. Will Pinnacle change up their game? Definitely does look like TWT really in their element when we've got mass cavalry and a bit of space. One of the key things here is that the stalwarts are very, very dependent on the direction they're facing. So when you give cavalry space, they're not going to be able to. They're going to easily be able to flank your stalwarts. Stalwarts. We saw some very good braces coming out from them, canceling out those cavalry charges. Very efficient as well. Unfortunately, when you got an opportunity to angle the charges just even slightly, we saw it on the supply point, the stalwarts just gets pulverized very fast. So it's really up to the teams now to get that micro down, get those stalwarts in position, facing the right direction, and not to get surrounded. I feel like flexibility is needed if you want to face off against cavalry in open spaces. Otherwise, your team needs to really make up the bulk by spreading out. A lot of times they're just packing on top of each other, really just death bowling, which is ideal for cavalry to come in from multiple directions easily, just dealing a little bit of damage, chipping them away. Eventually, a weak side will appear and smash through.
I'm nobody.
Wonder what's taking them some time here to start the next battle.
By loyalty we have come and bow before valor.
Know that you can use Cibicula to strengthen your units or gain access to others.
You look tired. May the song come in next.
Know that you can use Cibicula to strengthen your units or gain access to
I'm
others.
nobody, but I have been kissed by moons.
No sword or foe can ever bend my will.
It's really funny.
Know that you can use
Out of
Cibicula to strengthen your
everything
units
that, like, the PTR, like, out of all of the changes on the PTR, the one thing I didn't expect was a rise in the stalwarts again. Honestly, I tell you, it was one of the things I was not expecting. Definitely not what I was
You're a
expecting.
fault in a world.
Cover is indeed a lonely place.
Stalwarts have had like metas that they were strong in, like briefly during like not briefly, but like for half of Scorpio they were
strengthen your
meta.
units or gain access
Um,
to others.
their own season they were pretty much meta up until midway through the next season. In fact, um, it was only due to the fact that Liao Rangers were so overtuned
Let me see
that
what you're
You look
capable
tired.
of.
the stalwarts started to
May
lose
the song come
popularity.
in next.
Know that you can use Cibicula to strengthen
And
your
like Tundra
units
humans were just
or
way
gain access
crazy
to
strong
others.
as well. And also super flexible, just charge from any direction, or just walk around with cover commander, just beat up anyone.
I'm nobody, but I have been kissed by moons.
I find it really funny as well. Like,
Know that you can use Cibicula to strengthen your units
I've
or
kept
gain access
saying
to others.
this. You need units to be good
Let me see what
in a
you're capable of.
rounded way. You can have counters, but you can't solely rely on counters because if it's just a matchup game, then it's just a boring game. It's just a boring game that way.
Among the souls stands firm,
It
Know that you
becomes
can use
ever
Cibicula to
bent my
strengthen
will.
your
too
units or gain
tactical.
access to others.
Like people love strategy and tactics, But if you got no flexibility in the tactics and everything becomes just a matchup games, then it's just boring as because you're just going to choose a tactic that has no weaknesses. And the tactic that has no weaknesses literally just throw the strongest unit at the enemy and deal as much damage as possible as fast as possible, and that's cavalry. You don't choose units to resist, you choose units that deal damage faster than the enemy can hurt you. And I just really think it's really funny that like we finally got back into a fun period in the game. I'm not sure how long it's going to last. I definitely think CB is right now like is in a honeymoon period where the changes are really shaking up the kind of like dynamic, and people are having fun again because they're just using units that they don't normally use. Oh, TWT also picking up the glaive. What's with everyone picking up the glaive? You know what it is? It's the horseback thing. Ever since the glaive got the like 70% bonus damage from like speed while on horseback kind of thing, I think they've been dealing a bit too much damage with that right click of theirs. Let's not forget that like their normal attacks would do a lot of damage as well. Not to mention turn and attack. Those do pretty nasty damage. We see a camel out on the field. What's with the Orochis? I'm they somehow reduced the number of stalwarts, which I'm actually kind of sad about. Not a lot of paladins either. Paladins should be really strong against the stalwarts. Should actually be at least cost effective, by my estimate. But that's kind of strange that like we're here on Walford and they're using more cavalry to take out a unit that's supposedly anti-cavalry. Supposedly. But regardless, we'll see how well TWT is on the defense as we let Pinnacle attack. Pinnacle is up to gonna sacrifice the B side. No one on the wall, no one on the small fort side. Camels right at the front. Really got that terrifying stun aura. We also have the fascinating rattan round shields. I love these formations they make at the bottom. It's really cool how what they do. Unfortunately, it's just like it doesn't matter because climbing ladders is just the worst thing you never want to do it ever. If anyone's at the top of those ladders, they basically kill your units one at a time as they approach. Not even pushing any of the siege towers. That's really surprising. But it does look like TWT just gonna give up the wall. I would never give up the wall for free. Maybe posture a little bit. Got a lot of visual glitches coming out. Hopefully that fixes up in the next update. But regardless, I am surprised, however. No Lion's Roar. No Lion's Roar. I would definitely be like, let's make a box formation. Just make a box of Medals. Or make a box of Stalwarts. And just have the Lion's Roar just inside, just shooting. Because if it's an infantry battle, Lion's Roar or some ranged units would be super scary. Not to mention, let me talk about the Demez Arbalest. Demez Arbalest right now, super crazy efficient. Unfortunately, again, shields do block 100% of damage because 0 block break equals 0 damage. So, you do have that problem. Can easily be solved by units that just does not care about block. You got the Iron Cap archers, and fascinatingly enough, the Iron Cap arquebusiers. Arquebusiers throwing those firecrackers. Too bad they reduced the damage. It used to be like 800 or 1,000 damage, I think. 1,000 damage for the firecrackers from the from the Iron Cap arquebusiers, but I think it got reduced to like 600. 800 for the archers, but I think it got reduced down to 400 because it triggers twice. It's also very strange. Can't say I missed this. Very, very common approach on attacking wall fort. Been a really long time that we've had a classic CBL start like this. That front gate should be destroyed already. What are they waiting for? Oh, there we go. I'm not even sure if that trip landed on anything. We got a couple of losses, but on the Outriders mainly. Oh no, literally only the Outriders have taken damage. Iron Cap Scouts in the back gets completely cancelled out. Does take out 2 Yan Yidals. Definitely not an exchange I'd make. Bit of a waste, but we got a little bit of action happening. As we see Pinnacle moving through the front gate now.
Blood.
Oh, unfortunate. He gets caught out on the back end. Thought he'd just go. I thought he'd just go loop right around and come through the center here. Doesn't look like he made it, though. That's unfortunate. We have ballistas. You know, I always find it very funny. I don't know why. I don't know why. Like, you don't destroy this barricade. You can destroy all of these barricades, by the way. It takes 2 shots, of course, but shoot all of these barricades and just gun down all of these units. Ugh. Spear Sergeant's just tanking. Tanking. Easy tank. Pinnacle is not Russian in the slightest. Hey, ruled out something that they'd love to get hit. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like those ballistas are looking at the heroes. Boom! Boom! Ah, toesies! You know, I really find it funny that the Siege Ballista bolt actually stays inside of you visually. So, like, last time I got hit by a Siege Ballista, I was just walking around with this just giant pole swinging around. I was sprinting. Those kinds of things that are just really funny. Cavalry comes in, swings! Whoa! Takes out the hero. Stalwarts. Takes out the side. Cavalry comes in for a sweep up. Both sides are recollecting themselves. We also have arrow rain from the shirt diners. Wow. You know, I would not waste ammo on the shirt diners. Those healing packs are expensive. They eat through ammo so fast, you think you're using incendiary archers. Whoa, formations out. Very nice. I love formations. Tons of stalwarts. Maybe they'll spread out just a bit. We've got cavalry down the center. Gets caught on half. Coming from the side. Nice clean swipe. Oh, Medal's just holding. Stalwarts holding. Unfortunately, center line not. We also have plenty of cavalry from left and right coming down. Did the Monastic Knights just come straight through the center without dying? I don't think they broke through the center. I think they just plowed. Whoa! Daniel Dowell's coming from the side. Absolute cleanup right now. TW. TWT, I don't know what you're gonna do now. Massive losses for the C point. Gotta be mass retreat as so many of your units have died. Still plenty of anti-cavalry units. I think that was an ideal situation for Pinnacle. Really, really overplayed their hands there. TW taking up a nice position. I think overextension from TWT. The losses are nasty as well. Looking at like a 9-unit lead? No! That's an 11-unit lead for Pinnacle right now. Boom! What are you aiming at, Sunday? They got a nice view. Whoa! Where did that cauldron come from? Or was it a mortar? Probably. No, cauldron! Where? Whoa! Right over there! Gonna go for the supply point. Supply point, not a bad choice. If you don't want to attack the base point is pretty nasty. Whoever's up on, like, this is the really dumb thing. Whoever's up on the base point first actually gets surrounded. So, you actually want to come in onto the base point after the enemy has gotten up onto it. Which is really funny. Because you can surround whoever's up on the base point. TWT just lets the supply point go. Very interesting. TWT was also got a couple of deaths, so not a good look. Not a good look. The reason why is because supply becomes very important to use your units when your death timers start becoming long. You only have 3 deaths. Well, sorry, you only actually have 2 deaths before you're out. So your 3rd death is your permadeath. Can't afford to waste your respawns in just trying to get units out faster. Which technically it is faster, just simply dying. Don't need to walk back to the supply point, wait 10 seconds to get them out. Straight off the bat, this is not starting off well. Going real close, real close. Yan Yudao also swings from the sides, creates a hole. Cavalry now plowing through Unfortunately, front line from TWT not matching. Again, too aggressive. Really good bulkhead. Winning that infantry fight. Cavalry comes in, but too late. Medow's hold that handedly. We also have the stun lock and camels in the back. TWT tries to intercept, unfortunately unsuccessful. Whoa, Wing to Suz comes in and cleaves that main line. Spahi's doing a really good job, unfortunately dying on top of those Medows. Nice catch. I think 3 heroes just died just there. TWT doesn't have any units on this point here, and this is what I'm talking about. Can't rely on those respawns. Really need not only advantage in the victory, but also need some units on the board. Unfortunately, cavalry charge gets cancelled out. Supply point gets cleared up. Pinnacle looking good. Won't make it to the base point as Pinnacle wins their 3rd victory against TWT. Well done, TWT. Are Swahi cavalry actually usable, or why the hell Swahi? Spahi? Oh. No! Absolutely not. Why are they using it over the Daggerak Lancers? Daggerak Lancers are banned. Can't really say anything about that. No idea. No idea. Spahis, I would not use at all. Theoretically, they're supposed to be really good against shield units. I will tell you right now, they are not. Basically, they're as strong against shield units as any other cavalry. In fact, I think Iron Cap scouts probably do a better job at killing infantry than the Spahis do. But the Spahis are slightly more difficult to kill. I know, right? I think it's just one guy that likes them. Or like a couple of guys just likes them, and they just bring them out because they're just like thinking, why not? Unfortunately, I won't be able to watch the finals, so we won't get to watch Pinnacle versus BOD again. I think BOD is going to win. Could be an upset. However, there's also the EU versus AMS, so Western Champion or Western Conquerors coming out on the weekend as well. Who cares who like them? Aren't leaders literally demanding for meta units? Well, these conferences don't have rewards. Then there's no cash rewards for these Eastern Conquerors. I think it's just a title. I think it's just a title, and that's it. I don't think there's a reward for these ones. So they're having a bit of fun, and I kind of like it. I think it's a little bit refreshing after the tournament period has ended. I must say, however, if Spartans are not banned, the matches are very bad to watch. If anything, I think I'm more excited watching Stalwarts get pummeled by Cavalry, and the fact that they can lose, or basically it's a bit back and forth, directional kinds of things. I feel like it feels a bit more fair when Stalwarts are on the field. They don't feel overpowered, to say the least, but against Cavalry, they seem pretty nasty. So, yeah. I won't do the Western Conquerors for the weekend. I am working tomorrow, so you won't see me for the finals. So I hope that doesn't upset you guys too much. But other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed. We watched BOD versus ZT, and Bless of God wins 3-0. Pinnacle just won against TWT 3-1. and well, it's basically a rematch between uh, Bless of God and Pinnacle. So hopefully we get to see who wins tomorrow and who's the real champion. It would be funny if BOD doesn't sweep both titles and they actually end up losing the Eastern Conqueror's title to Pinnacle after beating them in the finals of the APAC round. Hope I'm not. I hope I'm not getting my. I hope I'm not getting my facts wrong there. But regardless, I hope you guys enjoyed my commentary, and I hope you guys enjoyed the CBL period. But that is all from me. I hope you guys. Other than that, my name's Atsuko. Have a nice day. Bye for now. Love you, Casey boy.